Well done for doing every day. Well done you for following. I hope in these last 12 days, even if I've given you an overview of things to help you to achieve, um, or to start to understand and unpick your own mindset and how you can shift and transform and move further. And today I want to go a little bit more in depth, give you a few more tools if you're finishing with me, and also invite you to spend the next 12 weeks by signing up. And actually, you don't have to become a member. That's not part of this. It's you can subscribe to my Patreon members, and there is a free option. If of course you want to join and you want to have access to the other stuff, then you are welcome, and that would be lovely. There's loads of stuff in there with the Qigong training and other workshops and things. However, that's not what this video is about, and I want to get down because I've got a lot that I want to share with you today for those that are finishing. So first, congratulations, you made it to day 12. You committed yourself, like we said in day 2, with your willingness to set aside time for you. So that in itself is amazing, that you've taken the time out. The I think some of the videos were 20 minutes, which I hadn't planned on being so long. This one might be slightly long as well, and hopefully you might have broken that down. I kind of tried to give you time in between those days, and if it takes you slightly longer than the 12 days, then don't worry. So I want to talk about 7 tips and 7 things that you can add to your transformation journey. And obviously we will work, if you come and do the 12 weeks with us, that's fine too. We will work through this in a more in-depth way, but I want you to go away with something and feeling like you've achieved something, you've learned something over these 12 days, you've been able to apply what I've spoken about. And if you haven't and you have any questions, then please just drop them below. I might not get back to you straight away as I don't have a team, but you can let me know what it is, and I will, as soon as I see that, I will do my best to answer if I have the answers. If not, direct you or look up that information. So today there's 2 things I want to discuss. One is our monitoring and adjusting. So the last few days we've been going over looking at experimentation and how what's working and playing around. This isn't something that you can kind of do in a day. You can a little bit kind of have a try and a go and make a start, but if you're not sure where or what to do, I have some things that can help you. So I'd like to read a little blurb here. This is an article from what's this website? Pickabrain.com. I've just read that. It's to see it. But these 7, the article 7 tools to radically transform your life, I really resonate with, because they're all things that I do in my life, and they've really made an effort in change, and I'm constantly feeling like I always wanting to continue that. But 2 things I'd like to speak on this. One is knowing when something's working, and then, yeah, I've got this. And also knowing when it's failed. So when something's not working, say there was a couple of things that you think, well, that just didn't work. Being able to adjust, ease and adjust, my partner's calls it, does with doors. And it's kind of not quite there, but almost. It's that having the ease and flow, it's sort of working, but it's not giving you the results that you would like. So maybe you pick something in these 12 days and you've made a start, but you feel like you really want to take it further. So these are things that you can do on your own, and obviously you're welcome as well to join us for the 12 weeks, which is, I was looking at how many days that is. It's like works out 88 days, 84 days, and I thought, well, there's a little bit of science I will share about 40 days in a moment, and that works perfectly. 44, where they say 40 days is what most people say, 20 days to break old habits and 20 days to reset the new habits in place. So generally roughly 40 days. Well, I read in science it's more between 40 and 80, and I would say that it just depends on the person. It's that repetition, it's that consistency, that consistent imperfect action, and taking those steps every day a little bit, what I call the law of incrementation, that inspired action for incrementation. And one of the things that I highly recommend, and what I mean by ease and adjusting, is also the willingness to start over. So say you've tried to lose weight, you've tried to exercise, and there's been numerous attempts to do this, and then something's happened, you've done a few days, and then maybe you've found it hard, or something else has got in the way and it's come up and it hasn't worked. Whatever the reason for it not working, you've abandoned that. You made a great start, maybe you didn't have the time, maybe other stuff got in the way, and you had the intention of doing it, but it just didn't happen. You need to have the willingness, and this is a mindset thing that we spoke about, that fixed mindset or the growth mindset. Have that willingness to start over. As I mentioned yesterday when we talk about the growth mindset, I think it was yesterday, was it? Or in the day when we spoke of mind growth mindset, having that willingness to start over and not feeling like you failed. The difference is, and I said about this being willing to try, I think it was in the beginning actually, willingness to know it's not yet. And I think I shared the TED talk on my members page about this, with kids that have been, their exams, rather than a failure, not yet, because it implies that it's not yet finished, and there's always more to do, and there's always more to learn anyway. And being willing to know that you can go back to it, you can start again, you can go back. And as I said when we were talking about, okay, so a lot of people might, and I'm going to use food because this is a great analogy for, okay, I've started the diet and then I ended up failing, I had a biscuit today, and then they're like, oh well, I've had a biscuit, so I might as well have another one. And it's that go down that road, that slippery road of going down that mindset and thinking of, I may not bother, or I won't try because I've already failed. And it's this belief of I've not enough, I've failed in this, that stops you from actually going back to it and thinking, okay, all right, I failed maybe at breakfast, this is what I was saying about, and then try again at lunch to have the water, remember the water, and not reward, but remind yourself and congratulate yourself, reinforcing that brain chemistry that we spoke of those positive thoughts when you actually are doing it right, and think, yeah, I did that, and really kind of celebrate that in yourself. So I'm going to ask you, as we're day 12, to actually repeat this. Now you've gone over, now you've watched all the videos, to start another 12 days, or to come with us for the next week, because we will be kickstarting week 1 and really drilling in, especially it's the new moon, the intention part, the purpose, the transformation and the desire, and the letting go of what didn't work, for one. But this is the information I wanted to share with you. So these are 7 things, there we are, that can help radically change, and tools that you can use and that we'll be using in more in-depth ways over the next 7 weeks as well, and as we move into different areas. So it helps if you have a really clear objective of what it is you want to work with, but you can still apply this to different things. You could maybe 1 week is just working on this and start things off with exercises, but I would highly recommend not having too many. but you choose, you decide your level you're going to work to in your own transformation, and whether you're just working with one area of your life, like a relationship area or health area, which I've been mentioning a lot because it's easier to kind of use as examples when we talk about health. But this could be in terms of your spirituality, this could be in terms of like meditation. You decide what it is you want to do. So number one, affirmations. Now I'm going to read this. Affirmation is a statement about you that you say to yourself. For example, I am very patient. And you write out the affirmation and say them every day with the feeling of the belief. Otherwise, it won't be effective. When you practice this, your affirmations start to become deeply embedded in your subconscious mind. So we're doing it by rote because we're wanting to kind of reprogram that record that we got playing of the subconscious, which has got its own records that we're trying to kind of erase and rewrite with our own record that's playing in the background, that becomes the new conditioning that we're reconditioning for ourselves. So do it for a couple of weeks and you'll see how effective it can be. So affirmations are great. So one of the ones that I started to write down that I recommend you saying is, I am open and I'm willing to transform my life. So you're setting yourself up to start with is the fact that I am open to shifting and changing, because a lot of us, we might outwardly be thinking that, but part of us is resistant to that. So this will tell you when you start saying this, if it feels comfortable and you're feeling into that and you're saying that every day, and maybe writing in your diary once a time of thinking that when you're out, maybe when you're running, and that can be the new pace, that your affirmations is a great time if you are someone that exercises. So this is one of the game changers. And as I did with you guys, we did the Louise L. Hay, didn't we? The deservability. And I think this is a big key, because a lot of us, we tune into that, oh, well, I failed attitude when we don't feel we're enough, or that we maybe, it becomes more of that fixed mindset when we don't feel that we're able to achieve this. We're like, that seems like such a vast, too far away. So this is why it's important to start with small and incrementations. Secondly, visualization. You need to be able to visualize yourself in that transformation. So I'm going to pick exercise again. So even if you start with, and I use me as an example because I have what I would call, I've got this belief, because I hurt myself playing volleyball when I was younger, that I have weak wrists. So I've always had that story playing over and over and over again as a record in my subconscious. Oh, if I go to lift heavier weights, it's going to hurt. And that's the story that's there. That's the story, and it is a story that I wanted to shift. So what I started to do is just work with, and I've got them here actually, just smaller weights. And they're really light weights. And when I realised, working with a trainer more recently, that actually I could never lift the 8 or the 10 kilo, these really heavy kettlebells. But actually, I realised by pushing past it, and that there wasn't anything else available. I had no other choice. I had to. And therefore, I realised I'd broken through that mental barrier that I'd set up for myself by lifting. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So I started to do that. Now I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so visualising myself, getting into the habit of like, no, I'm going to do this. I'll be able to see, I can see myself, visualise myself actually lifting the weight first and thinking, I'm going to get to that point. So I was visualising me doing it with actually thinking that's going to be a future. I'll get there down the line. And I'd let go of the attachment to the when it would happen, and it happened a lot faster. I was able to it's still hard work and it's still a challenge, but it's not impossible. And I really then feel that when I can feel the trying to go push, and I really do feel that I've achieved that. So I've broken through that story that I'd created for myself. So visualization is so powerful. I've seen studies, and I know that Dr. David Hamilton speaks about this because he works with he was working in the what they call it, the chemistry and pharmaceutical industry with drugs with placebo and nocebo effects. So he was seeing the effects of how we work with placebo and how if we're visualizing the help of a drug working. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Let me just start again. Let's just reset that brain, put that brain back into place. Thank you, Rain. My one of the studies he talks about is that of the piano, where they took a group of people and they had people pretending to play the piano. You imagine what it must have been like in that room. It made me laugh when he was talking about. So they would every day visualize just going da, 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 da. Then another group would just sit there and not do anything, and so it was a controlled study, and then they had actual people playing the piano, and they measured the muscle in the people that were actually learning to play the piano for the ones that were visualizing and the ones that did nothing. Well, the ones that did nothing had no change in their fingers, obviously, and the ones that learning to play the piano on the physical piano actually had muscle things. But the interesting results were the ones that were visualizing doing it every day, not even moving their fingers. They were just visualizing moving their fingers, actually had an increase in muscle in their fingers, which shows you that the power, the physical results. And obviously he works with cancer patients, with helping them visualize with their healing, and alongside their actual medicine and stuff. So it's amazing stuff if you look at him. But so our brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagined. It interprets it in the emotions, in the chemical reactions in our brain and in the biological of our body as the same thing. You actually are living it, which is why things like trauma are so intense, because people are actually reliving it, even though when they're visualizing and those memories are coming up for them, they are actually biologically living it again and again. So but that's on the negative. When you take that on the positive, you can do that for yourself. You can see yourself, and sports people do this all the time with seeing and following through with the tennis racket and learning muscle memory, visualizing as well, and then actually taking that to the next level. Well, this is the same science for you to do this with your transformation. So visualizing and spending 5 minutes a day visualizing and on what it is you're working with, not because you are becoming a manic manifester, but taking it to that next level. So where am I? My little blurb thing that I wrote here on my little notes. What was the next one on my list? Oh, where's it gone? I don't know my little notes. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I'm tired. I'm sorry. My apologies. So affirmations was 1, 2, visualization. What did I have for 3? Journaling. So I know this one can be, for some people, it's not something they love. And again, this speaks of this repetition of using the brain, of going over stuff. And actually, I would also add as a tool for transformation here what I call creative writing. So I learned this from Lee Harris. He suggests this, and I started doing this and found this was a way of me connecting to my soul and creative side, soul lessons, language, higher self, whatever you want to call it, subconscious mind, manifest on the page. So I would write, what does my soul need me to know today, as a journal prompt? And then I would just follow what thoughts come up and just write whatever thought was coming to mind, just write, not thinking about and really being freeing in this, not thinking about what it was I wanted to write, just whatever thought would come to mind, I would write it down. And I didn't notice until I started to read back that it wasn't written in, I want this. It was you, as if it was coming from somewhere kind of deep outside. So it was a really cathartic practice. So even though journaling isn't the sexiest of idea, it says here on this, when used properly, it can be extremely effective. Here are two powerful ways that you can journal. The first way is by a stream of consciousness, which is what I was using. You can write candidly about any issue, problem or situation, assuming that you keep your journal hidden and private. No one is going to judge you, unlike talking to even the most trusted friend. Your journal is a safe space to say anything. It will greatly increase your awareness. And one of the things here is that you are learning the thoughts that come up. You're actually becoming more self-aware, which we talked about, and having a certain understanding, so you can then start to do all these things that we mentioned about having this conscious awareness of your own, what's working, what's not. You can read back and see, oh, actually on those days when I'm very tired, it's not the best time for me to do live videos, which she says doing here. But when I'm keeping in my consistency, I'm being real and I'm showing up regardless. So what is it that you're working with? So the second is more effective way to write in your journal is to ask yourself specific guided questions. Hence me saying, what does soul need me to know today? What is it I truly want in my life? What does happiness mean to me? What are the things that I really desire? Which is what I'm going to ask you to look at for our first week. So if the questions we ask ourselves that determine our future, for example, if you want to be successful but lack confidence or doubt yourself, ask yourself, what are 5 reasons that I'm going to be successful? Really think about that. Make a note of that now. What are 5 reasons that you will be successful at this? Now, next on the list is very similar to number 1 with affirmation, but affirmative prayer. So don't be turned off by the term prayer. It's spiritual, not religious. An affirmation prayer is believing, or an affirmative prayer is believing that what you want to happen has already occurred. I like to affirm prayers like this. And really stop and do this with me now. As I read these words, feel them in you. Thank you, universe, for having already given me an amazing week at work. A ton of joy in my relationships and happiness every day this week. Hear that again. We're going to say it 3 times. Thank you, universe, for having already given me an amazing week at work. A ton of joy in my relationships and happiness every day this week. Thank you, universe, for having already given me an amazing week at work. A ton of joy in my relationships and happiness every day this week. And you're stating that as it's already happened before the week ahead. Not only are you believing what it's already happened, you're expressing gratitude for it and overcoming limiting beliefs. So the trickiest thing about limiting beliefs is finding them. So it's literally getting down to the nitty-gritty. I can't remember what day we worked on this, but beliefs, as entrepreneur David Maxwell has shown, you find a limiting belief by first asking yourself 3 questions. So please make a note of these 3 questions. She says before she sneezes. No. What do I want to accomplish? And you can have these as journal prompts. You can work with these. You don't have to answer all these questions now. And following this, I was going to say about meditation, you can use the tool meditation where you go to the heart, and I'll finish with that today so you can actually start with these. Second, why haven't I accomplished it yet? And feel what comes up. And it may not come up right away if you're working with meditation, even with journaling, but just see, play around with it. Experimentation, remember, on day 9. What beliefs are stopping me? Now, in my vision board workshop, if you're a member, you can go straight to this workshop. If you're not, have a look. I don't know if they're on Eventbrite at the moment, but they certainly were in the past, and they will be up over Christmas. I'll be doing some new ones. But as part of my vision board packs, I have a belief assessment download that you can buy, and in that we look at what are your beliefs and what is your desire, what is your beliefs you have about that desire, and how we can kind of reframe those beliefs in order for you to adjust that to be in alignment with those desires. Because a lot of times the reason things haven't shifted is because there's a contrasting belief that's kind of like you're putting two ends on the train, so that stops from happening, because the subconscious is going, well, this is what she believes, so this is what we're going to create, even though the conscious mind is saying, I want this. Deep down, you also want this, and that will this will contradict that. So this is in the subconscious, so this is what's going to play out, and that will keep happening until that is reshuffled. So assessing your beliefs is quite important if you've got resistance, but it is something you can do on your own. You don't need to go buy my thing. I'm not saying that. You're just saying it's there if you want it. So what was the final thing? Meditation and gratitude. Now, I put these together. They are two different things, but I want to speak on meditation. So Zazen, which is Zen meditation, I recommend as the best way to start. One of the things that I always say with meditation, when friends of mine have said, oh, I can't meditate, I can't clear my mind. When I sit down, all I do is think. Well, that actually is what happens when you meditate, because I always say to think of meditation like the layers of an onion. When you first sit down to meditation, if it's not something you do regularly, there's going to be loads of layers and loads of kind of stuff that kind of needs to come up to the surface. And why it's uncomfortable for some people is they suddenly sit down and then they have to be with themselves, and all these thoughts start coming to the surface and they find that uncomfortable. If you can kind of get past that and you bypass it to start with by just allowing yourself to just be present, to witness, to allow things to come up, to clear, and then you just take that time. So I would like you, if you are joining me for the next 12 days to on the repeat, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to go into every day for 10 minutes a day for our start of our transformation, just to have 5 to 10 minutes a day meditation, and to sit in reflection, sit in a quiet practice. For some people, that might mean they just stop and take a breath and they connect with their breath in a Zen meditation, which, what is it saying on here? It recommends like 5 minutes meditating every day will greatly increase your awareness, which is basically connecting your breath as you inhale and exhale. And I work with more of a Qigong breath, so that's through the nose and out through the nose. But it's this slowing down the breath, and you are then actually telling the sympathetic nervous system to be calm, and you start to become in a different state of brain wave and understanding where you're more open to that growth mindset. When you're in the panicked, your sympathetic nervous system's flared up, so what we're in the reptilian part of the brain, in the fight or flight, then we can't actually make decisions, because you're not meant to make decisions. That's to get you out away from the saber-toothed tiger. So you would need then to run. So decisions when you're in fear and in that fried state, shall we say. And unfortunately, a lot of us in our lives tend to be in that state without even realizing. We're so used to being in that's in the subconscious is there. So we want to shift out of that. And another way, a brilliant way of doing this is gratitude. So as Michael Bedford says, when we practice gratitude, we train our minds to look for what we have to be happy and thankful for, rather than what to complain about. This is the most powerful tool for when you're in a bad mood or just feeling unhappy. And I remember when I first started to go, I'll zip that mind, and I'm becoming aware of my thoughts becoming things. And I started to hear more others around me rather than my own. And you start to hear your own thoughts on this. But when you're at conversations and people, they're like, oh, how are you? Oh, well, I'm not really well. This is happening and so good. And you realize that all these stories that are coming up are all kind of the negative narrative. I really love now when someone, this has happened, but oh my God, it feels great, this is happening and this is happening. And then I'd have this side, oh God, that's one of those people that's always really happy, they're really annoying to be around. And someone said, oh, life isn't like that. And actually, life can be like that when you train yourself to be that way and to see that way. And as Albert Einstein says, now let's see if I can remember this quote off by heart. I don't think I can. I know I've got it in here though. Oh my gosh, I was doing today's transformational quote, which I have been doing for these Transformational Tuesday quotes, which are hopefully going to be a little pack that you can pick one out. I'm just waiting to find a nice vegan friendly sustainable printer that I'm happy with. Where's the Einstein quote? Because this is really telling, I think. Is it this? That's everything is energy one. Ooh. Maybe I won't find it. Gosh, there's so many. No, I don't think I'm going to find this quickly. It was me just ad hocing. And I think that one there is... picture of Einstein. I started doing their faces in the background on the second lot. Everything is energy, and that's all there is. It's not much of the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. No. That's another one. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. They're all Einstein, but not the one I was looking for. But basically, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember it word for word, but he's saying that the world that we see, if we see the world as a harsh place, that's the world that we will actually live. So depending on how we see the world, that's what will dictate how we are. So if we see it as any bad place, then we'll witness more and more experiences. That's the evidence that will be put before us. So sorry for the digression. I'm a little bit ups and downs. So I want to wrap this up for you guys and just say thank you for the time that you've invested. Super grateful for this. As a thank you for completing this 12 days, I'd like to give you an extract from my pack that I mentioned, and I'll pop that in the downloads on my Patreon site. I'll pop it up on there, so you I think as long as you're subscribed, you can download, and you don't need to pay to subscribe, and you can grab that. You might even be able to access it without subscribing, and that's fine. But basically, as part of the pack, where is it? Let me see if I can get it up on here. It's what I recommend everyone that does my vision board workshop does. They work with gratitude over the subsequent days, and to supercharge your manifestations. So I highly recommend, out of all of the transformational things, the affirmation, the visualization, the meditation, that you could maybe practice 5 minutes a day, that this last thing, and it's just a page, so it's a simple thing for you to do. Oh, hang on, meal planner, blah, blah, workout planner. There's loads I've added in these. Oh, where is it gone? Maybe the Thanksgiving one doesn't have it. Should do. Is to every day. Oh, there we go. Weekly gratitude chart. So you can do your own. This is just a sheet that you can print to help you. So list 3 things you're grateful for in the morning and evening each day, and be in a place of gratitude. It can help you manifest faster. For more details, you can join our workshops and supercharge that. But you don't have to have this. You can just pop this in your diary. But what it does is it makes you think about what you're grateful for today. And I invite you to join us, as I'm doing a gratitude countdown for Christmas on my personal Facebook page. I've been sharing on Instagram. You can see each day from day 1, and today, for example, was our, where's it gone? So for December 12, today, to be grateful for everything you put into your body and share what you love on your plate. 2 things is why I'm prompting with that journal there, is it makes you think about what you are putting into your body and what you love and what you love to eat, and to think about what that is and what gives you happiness. But it's to being grateful for, to put in or on your body, and to kind of prompt some awareness there and think about like the details. So day 1, I asked, where's day 1? Share something you love about yourself. And this is quite a hard one. I deliberately started with a hard one because a lot of people that maybe don't feel deserving might find something, but there's always something. You might be good at singing, you might be good at sewing, you might be great at talking, chatting, you might be a good listener. When you start to self-reflect on your positive attributes, again, you are compounding your way of thinking, and that is transformative. So thank you for joining me. Apologies for the length of this last video. I hope that I have left you with some things to help you, some tools. I look forward to anyone that wants to sign up for the 12 weeks. And even if you're watching this in a year's time, the 12 weeks that we work through with the members, that will be up on the Patreons. The videos that I do from them are on there. So anyone that joins later can come and do that again at a later date. And maybe prompt yourself. So if you're restarting, today's task would be to write an affirmation for the week ahead, to say it every day for the next 12 days, and to start by meditating for 5 minutes, which is what we're going to do to finish. So hands on your heart with this quiet practice, whether you want it to become a journal prompt and to listen, to feel what comes up. For me, this is going to be a gratitude for thanking you for viewing, for watching, for all of you taking the time for yourself to put in this time to sit, to listen, to understand, and really spend time thinking about what it is you want and how you can transform. And starting now, it's making that decision to start now that is the biggest change. So thank you for your time. Love and blessings. Open and receptive to what comes through. Open and receptive to shifts and change that are coming to us for the best. We affirm. And I just want to go back to that affirmation from the affirming prayer. Thank you, universe, for having already given me an amazing week. You can add at work. A ton of joy in my relationship and happiness every day. Whatever you do, may it bring you joy, may it bring others joy, and may it make a change and ripples around for the highest good of all. Blessings. Thank you for joining me.